All right, we made it all the way to generation pay. If you've made it this far through the compensation plan training, I appreciate your time and dedication, paying attention to the actual things that are going to help elevate you as a leader and help you grow leaders underneath you. Remember, when you understand these things at this depth, you are able to duplicate it and teach it to those under you. Let's get moving to generation pay. If you take a look again at the table on the left, we start generation pay at the rank of director. Now, I included senior manager because, as we will learn here in the next few minutes, that is where a new generation begins and where an additional generation would end. However, generation pay starts once you hit the rank of director. And that means, technically, based off of this, would skip your personally enrolled and go all the way down to your level 2. That would be the beginning of a generation. So, this is the first here as pictured. Now, how often would it be that this person is not a senior director and this person is? Well, it's probably more common than you think. Regardless, again, I've included some pictures to show that as a zoomed in version of a director rank, they would still require that 1200 outside volume. But here, let's start with some of the text. You can earn anywhere from 2 to 3% per generation. Now, while these numbers seem minuscule, once you hit the director rank and your organization really starts to grow, you will know exactly why this is one of the most lucrative parts of the compensation plan. You get up to 5 generations. The 5th generation will be unlocked at the top advanced executive director rank. This is partners and their generations, again, director plus. A new generation begins at the senior manager rank. This person is a senior manager, which means you earn 2% off of their organization. That's 2% of their personal volume, 2% of their personal volume, 2% of their personal volume. If this person is the next senior manager, right, that would end the first generation. And since at director, you only get one generation, once this person hits senior manager, put a stop to it. You are no longer earning off of this generation. Now it's time to help build more senior managers or rank advance so you can unlock an additional generation. Here's the craziest part of this generation. Let's say this person hits senior manager. You've now unlocked a generation. Let's say this person doesn't hit, this person doesn't hit, all the way down. Let's say they're active. Let's say they each have like 400 PV or something. And then the next senior manager is here. Theoretically, that could go on forever. You could have infinite levels if this generation doesn't come to an end somewhere, if you don't have a senior manager hit. Now, how likely is that? Not very. However, it is common to where you will have organizations of people where 1, 2, 3, 4 consecutive legs may not produce the way that that 5th leg produces. And all of a sudden, the 5th leg blows their business up while the other 4 previous remain active to start maintaining 7,000 in downline volume. If they have 6,000, 6,500, 5,500, 3,000 in downline volume, you're still earning the 2% on that at the rank of director. So if you look at this person, level 1, level 2, you are earning 7% on that level 2 for level pay. You are now earning an additional 2% for a total of 9% on this person. That's damn near the same 10% on their level 1. And that only increases the higher the rank you achieve. This is by far one of the most lucrative parts of this business model, of this compensation plan, of this entire company, but they have to put a cap on generations at some point. Otherwise, it would go on forever. And as the company grows, as people's individual organizations grow, that could eventually cost so much in commission payouts that the company would eventually crash as it grows. I think 5 generations is very generous for a company, and there aren't any other compensation plans that I've seen. I looked into quite a few while I was researching this company that offer this type of generation pay. You can get a visual of exactly what's what. Once this ends right here, this is the next senior manager, but you're not getting paid off of this generation. This is a zoomed in version, so let's take it out a bit and zoom out at a more realistic looking director. Even here, the number of personal sponsors this director could have could branch out even more, but we're just going to stay zoomed in. Take a look at what a more realistic organization would look like. We're going to keep the same table up here, and we're going to look here. Since this is the director's personally sponsored and they're a senior manager, they are getting 10% off of this level 1 and an additional 2% off of this level 1 for a total of 12% off of their level 1. 12%. So if this level 1, let's say they have a huge affiliate style model where they have 60,000 in personal volume. When you take the commissionable volume, let's bring this calculator back up. All right, let's move it out of the way so we can calculate it. Let's put it down here. Let's say this person's producing 60,000 in personal volume. So you get 10% off of their level pay, And you also get an additional 2% because they're a senior manager plus off their generation. So 12%. Remember, we have to take that initial 70%. We can just do 0.7, but I just want to show you 4,200. And if we look at 12% of that, so 0.12, you're looking at $5,040 off of this level one. You can see why this business model is very lucrative. You can see why so many people are jumping ship in other companies to come and build here. Again, you don't necessarily have to be a big old team builder, but if you want to achieve these ranks, you can't just be a huge PV superstar. You can still get paid off of personal volume. We looked at how you can really take advantage of that in the level pay model. But if you want to take advantage of both and have a huge organization along with a great affiliate style model, you can kind of double dip in a way to where you're getting paid on levels and you're getting paid off of generations. It pays to do both, to have an affiliate style model, but it also pays to have a team building model. That is just one example. So if we take a zoom in right here and look at this person's a senior manager, this person also hit. So they don't necessarily get a huge amount of generations off of this, but it does, as a director, it should motivate you to go for that next rank so you can unlock this generation, which would open up everything down here. If we look at this person, senior manager, boom, you unlock their entire generation, right? This is not, if you look at this next senior manager, well, that just cuts off that generation from here below. But these other ones aren't part of that consecutive leg. They branch off into their own. So you're still getting generation pay off of this organization, just not this center one. Moving on. This is a more detailed version of what the top rank would look like. This is an advanced executive director. Again, they probably would have more personally sponsored who would have even more personally sponsored under them. But when we zoom out from just a director and having unlocked that first level of generation, you see that this person now has 5 generations from one senior manager to the next senior manager plus. So if it's a director or whatnot, once you hit senior manager, that unlocks a generation. That generation stays all the way until they hit advanced executive director. It stays. That continues to be a generation in line until the 6th consecutive senior manager. I should have updated this, but we're going to roll with the punches. All right. This is actually 6 months. So let's dive into that. If, say, a senior manager in your organization loses rank for whatever reason, they will maintain that career title for up to 6 months, around roughly 180 days. This is kind of like a catch-22 because were they to drop that rank and they would lose the career title as well, it would technically unlock an additional generation, which may help you. But if you don't have another generation to unlock, then it could actually help you because you are still maintaining that generation. You're still getting paid off of that generation. They have up to 6 months to get it back. All right. So when you look at, here's a senior manager, we come down here, here's the second one. They are consecutive and a third one, skip this one, fourth, fifth, right? You have this whole fifth, and at the start of the 6th right here is where you would cut off. Look at how much commission you are gaining just off this one. Now, a 6th senior manager could be here as well, could be here as well. It can go on theoretically until infinity. And if you're trying to bring over big hitters or maybe a company closed down, this is probably, it may not be what you want to lead with, but if somebody's very business savvy and you want to talk numbers with them, you got to understand this at a depth that you can explain it effectively to another leader. You want to be able to explain it in such a way that it just rolls off the tongue. So watch this over and over. Suzanne Brock has an amazing video in the corporate office. Watch it over and over again. Gary Simmons, an amazing video. Watch it over. That's the one that I watched over and over again. I watched his and Suzanne's video a lot. And even in Gary's video, they didn't even have advanced executive director when he made it. They only had executive director. So I was caught up like, why is his cutting off at the 4th generation? I didn't understand it. And then I realized that they didn't even have advanced executive director at the time that he made it. The last thing I want to touch on is something we called tap rooting or cherry picking. Okay, that's going to keep flickering, so don't get too distracted by it. Somebody who's close to achieving senior manager, you want to kind of tap into them. Like maybe this person's checked out. Maybe they, for whatever reason, life happened and they're not, really checked into the business. You want to first talk to your leader and try to delegate. Even with that, sometimes it will help for you to kind of go in, and they call it tap rooting or cherry picking, and help build this person up. Maybe have a one-on-one with them, guide them, show them the ways to advance, tap into their network, show them how to post on social media, whatever you got to do to get them to unlock this next generation, because then it would unlock their whole organization. Yes, you would have this generation, you would have 3% off them and the entirety of here. Well, it would increase at this one and then this one as well. But you only gain more by increasing revenue of your entire organization. By helping them increase rank, you're helping increase revenue. So even though the percentage you would have in their generation is lower, the more money that's being generated would still increase your revenue and your profits. Again, right here, they're way down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 levels all the way down. Somebody in here you should hopefully be able to rely on, but if they're not a senior manager, they probably can't explain the things that are required to help this person advance in rank. Without a senior manager or above to rely on, to have the knowledge to be able to guide them, it may be up to you to go in here and cherry pick them, because maybe they're blowing it up. Maybe they have 9,000 in PV, but they're not bringing on any brand partners. So they need to unlock that outside volume or that maximum volume on themselves. Maybe they need to look at sharing business opportunities over sharing the product so they can unlock that next rank, so they can build on their organization and unlock an additional generation for you. Again, generation pay is probably the most lucrative part of this business model. It makes it very easy when you have a reputable company and a product that is in such high demand to bring on people as customers, clients, and it also makes it very lucrative when you're able to explain level pay and generation pay very effectively to potential business partners. So thank you for watching this training. I appreciate you if you're part of the Shot Caller team, or if you're just catching this on YouTube from another organization. If something has changed by the time you watch this, feel free to comment. I will go back and update it. Thank you.